Do you enjoy the idea of taking your favorite characters from comic books, anime, games, manga, and bringing them together, joining them in harmony to create something beautiful and interesting in a gaming situation? Well, if you do, then you've come to the right place, my friend. Welcome to The Cross Zone. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cross Zone episode number 3, titled Robos on the Lair. I'm Audrey. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be able to share my crossover video game idea with you. The two series that this idea merges are the universe of Angelic Lair and the universe of Custom Robo. Now, each of these series has a little bit of a history that has kind of gone on. So for this particular game, there will have to be like a whole totally new continuity created for this to be a thing, which is great, which will work out fine because the styling of the games, they work together very well for this. So that being said, both Angelic Lair and Custom Robo have people playing their game using their mind while controlling like a toy or a doll. For Angelic Lair, these are called angels. For Custom Robo, they're called Robos. Both series have a special type of arena-esque surface that their games are played on. For Angelic Lair, that is the lair, and Custom Robo, that's the Holosseum. And the players for these respective series that are utilizing their mental power to control their respective battle avatar is a Deuce for Angelic Lair and the Commander for Custom Robo, at least from my memory. I mean, I did look things up a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. With Custom Robo, though, certain commanders could create their own Holosseums without like having a special platform to play on, and that would be incorporated into this idea. But it wouldn't just be the commanders who are using Robos who could do it. It would also be the dudes who are using angels. Where it will work out would be more or less these people who have that special ability would be using a special visor, which in Angelic Lair they use a visor to they have a head visor on that they utilize that reads their brain patterns that they play the game with. And I would incorporate that into Custom Robo to kind of make it fair, so it's not just like, oh, I have a Robo, now I can make it do things without having some special equipment on. So Custom Robo would get visors as well to make things even. But these special dudes and commanders can create their own Holosseum. This virtual Holosseum is like the smallest version of what Holosseum can be, so it can only house up to 4 characters at a time, or like 4 competing players. Now the tabletop Holosseums for Custom Robo, at least for the way I have this idea set up, would allow for up to 6 players to be played on these sized arenas, because they would be bigger. They'd be much bigger than the virtual ones that are created by dudes and commanders. And the lairs can hold up to the Angelic Lair can house up to 8 players playing together all at once. because the lair is actually much bigger. At least in the officially used one in Angelic Lair is like way bigger. So that's the scaling I went with. Robos and Angels are both divided up into 5 parts. For the Robos, they have the chassis, the gun, the bomb launcher, pods, and legs. For Angels, they have the frame, arms, legs, torso, and head. Robos are contained in Robo Cubes, while Angels are contained in Angel Eggs. These are coming from their respective continuities. Angels can be male or female, while Robos have no given gender. Though that does not mean that there are not models that look more like one gender than the other, but they don't have a specified gender. So, getting into my story that I've just kind of whipped up for this. Technological advances have allowed for the population of the world to live a comfortable and serene life, a utopia that all would be able to enjoy. During this time of peace, the masses needed something to excite them with the lack of conflict within the world. A company by the name of Holomux Inc., I just threw that name together, created a game called Custom Robo. This game allowed people to take on each other with toy figurines that they called Robos. Players are called Commanders. Commanders control their Robos with their mind utilizing a visor-like headset. Every commander makes their own individual Robo, and they take part in Robo battles in an arena platform called the Holosseum. There are 2 forms of the Holosseum. The first is a tabletop structure that creates a virtual environment which remains static until the battle is over, meaning it remains the same. These arenas support up to 6 players at a time. The second variation is a virtual environment created by a commander through their visor, though not all commanders are capable of creating their own Holosseum. These impromptu arenas only support up to 4 players at a time. Custom Robo quickly became a major success and was played throughout the world. Watching the success of Holomux, other companies decided to chase the craze of having arena-based games with mentally controlled, customizable avatars. None had become quite as big or well known as Custom Robo, that is, until Mihara Prosthetics decided to give the idea a go. Through their research in creating mentally controlled prosthetics for those who have been or are disabled, they were able to create a game that would showcase their ability to create those parts for the betterment of life. Their game was called Angelic Lair. In this game, players are called dues. These dues control custom created dolls called angels. These angels could be either a representation of their dues or what their dues had wished to be but couldn't. Their arena is called the Lair and is the place in which angels are utilized. These lairs could allow for up to 8 individual players to participate at once, and the environments would change as to create different conditions to adjust to. Originally, the lair was conceived only as a platform to showcase their work in prosthesis, but Mihara Prosthetics would soon become the company to rival the success of Holomux Incorporated. Both Custom Robo and Angelic Lair spawned their own tournaments, their own product lines, and even their own stores. Each was recognized as a sport, and both would be highly watched and speculated over by the masses, even to such a degree that arguments would break out from time to time comparing the two to determine which was the better mental control battle format. This led to the companies trying to outdo each other on a regular basis, having promotions that would either downplay or insult the other's game. This unsurprisingly led to more separation and arguments among the fans of each respective game. That is, until it led to the tragic trampling of a young child during a fight that broke out among impassioned viewers when the two companies had their tournaments at the same time and place right next to each other. Both companies came together and decided to put aside their differences. They pulled all of their resources together to create a singular game in which both Commanders and Dudes, Robos and Angels could participate in together. They wanted no more squabbles between their fan bases and never again have someone harmed because of their products. In doing this, the game Custom Layer was created, and the partnership of both companies also led to Mihara Prosthetics finally being able to release their mental controlled prosthetics to reach the world market, thus allowing more people to be able to move around and partake in the game. The first world tournament for Custom Layer was now on the horizon, and the first champion of such waiting to be crowned. I know that story gets a little dark in the middle of it, but the purpose of it was to give a reason as to why they joined these games together. And I know someone's probably just like baffled at how I could just throw out a child was trampled by a mass of people who are arguing with each other. As a parent, that thought makes me cringe. But I had to have something for the story. Gameplay wise, I could see this crossover game playing like the Custom Robo game series. I mean, Angelic Lair has a Game Boy Advance game, I think, but I don't know if it was ever localized outside of Japan. But the basic rundown is this: combatants emerge onto the chosen battle arena, which is either a Coliseum or a lair. Robos are launched onto the arena in their Robo Cubes and will remain within them for a period of 4 seconds and then pop out to start the fight. Angels will land within the arena, but they need a brief warm-up phase, which is also a 4-second period before they can take part in the battle. Robos and Angels gain experience points based on how well they do in battle, and winning Robos and Angels get a cash reward for their victory. Experience points are used to boost the attributes of the Robos and Angels. Stats such as speed, endurance, recovery, hit points, and power. The money earned from battles can be used to purchase upgrade parts and equipment for your Robos and Angels. Robos have 3 parts in which they can use to attack or defend, those being the gun, the bomb launcher, and the pod. And they must have one of each of these 3 things in order to participate in a battle. Each of these 3 parts can have a specified elemental attack. The 2 parts affecting durability and movement are the chassis and the legs. Each Robo chassis has its own level of regular endurance and then special endurance, which relates to attacks based upon certain elements. Leg parts have different types that allow for differing forms of aerial maneuverability. The 3 major types are extra jump, extra jump, dashing, and long jump. Sorry about that. Extra jump, additional jumps can be made in the air to allow a directional change and or avoid a hazard. How many extra jumps is variable. Dashing, directional movement with a quick burst of speed in the air, allow for directional changes. This too is also variable. How many times it can be done just depends on which part is being utilized, like actually in Custom Robo game. And the long jump. A singular jump that allows for a lot of area to be covered very quickly. It's really like just a quick hop from, let's say you're on one side of arena, you can quickly hop from one side to the other, but you can't change direction in midair. I mean, you can stop your jump short, but you can't really control what direction you're going. Once you jump that direction, you're going that direction. Is that clear? Legs also will affect the Robo's movement speed on the ground, but each one is different, just like with the jumps. Angels have to choose their parts as well, from the frame, arms, legs, torso, and head. With angels, the frame dictates regular endurance, while the arm parts give regular endurance a boost. Leg part types are also identical for angels to what Robos have. However, both the arms and legs of an angel also have an effect on the angel's attack power. The torso of an angel affects its special endurance, and the head of an angel that is chosen affects the elemental attack type that you can choose. Robos attacks have a cooldown timer for each individual attack, like with the gun, bomb launcher, or the pod. And each individual attack needs just like a short amount of time to be used again. Cooldown time varies depending on the weapon used, as well as its ability for rapid attack. Angels, however, do not have a cooldown timer for normal attacks, which would be punches and kicks, but they are capable of utilizing special attacks that will need a recovery time. But usage of such moves will also temporarily slow your angel down after the move has been performed, whether it has hit or missed. When a Robo or angel has taken a very hard hit or sustained enough damage, they are knocked down. And in this knockdown state, it's far easier for you to take severe damage, so players have to quickly, tap on those buttons to get their battling avatar back up to their feet. When an angel or a Robo recovers from a knockdown, they are invincible to attack for a 5-second period to allow them enough time to get their bearings and maybe get away from a point of impact from like maybe a bomb explosion or something. And the match types for this game would be very simple, be as follows: 1v1, 2 versus 2, and team battle, which would incorporate anything from 3-on-1, 2-on-2 to 4 versus 4. That's just how I figure it makes it simpler that way. The game modes that I could see working well for this game are obviously a story mode, a local match mode, networld, player kit, gallery, and settings. Now, most of these modes are pretty self-explanatory, with the exception of maybe networld and player kit, and I'll explain those. Because I'm figuring somebody's probably looking like, well, duh, that's online matches, right? But yes, that's true, but only partly. See, my thought is for Networld to be a fully utilized online community where it's like sort of like a living world that encompasses elements of both the Angelic Lair series and the Custom Robo series. I mean, put it in this situation, you'd be playing online against other players, but then there will also be online specific NPC characters that come from the worlds of Custom Robo and Angelic Lair, both the anime and the manga. So that's why this game needs to have its own continuity, because Custom Robo kind of has a pretty decent sized timeline, and Angelic Lair the anime and the manga have slightly different characters, and even the characters that are in both kind of act a little different. So that's why I would want to incorporate all of them. But that would be a great way to go, and then you can have your own versions of those particular characters. Well, this game could have its own version of those particular characters that were great in both Custom Robo and in Angelic Lair. Player Kit is literally just a mode to go through your parts that you have and set up like presets for equipment for your angels or your robos, whichever ones you want to have set up and ready to go. That's all it really is. It's basically just a garage for your parts and your different robos and angels. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Nintendo, Clamp, why you no do this? Yeah, I know that was kind of corny, but you saw the picture that went with it. I mean, this is something, it's an idea, like I said, it's something I've had in my head for quite a while, and it is something I want to see come to fruition, and I would hope that one day it happens. I just don't think it will. It would be a great game. There's no doubt in my mind it would be great. And I mean, the LGX thing, or is LGP, is something. The Battle Robot game that's coming out for the 3DS kind of seems similar to the idea I have. Just have to see how it pans out. But I really would love to see Nintendo and Clamp get together and do a collaboration and make this, because it would be awesome. But that's the end of this episode of the Cross Zone. Thank you very much for lending me your ear, and thank you very much for listening to me ramble on. I just enjoy doing this, and hopefully people can get to understand why I like doing it so much if they listen to it enough. But yeah, that's basically it. The next episode of the Cross Zone will be Tricks and Tags. I'm not going to give you a hint this time as to what it is, but I hope you guys will enjoy it. I know for a fact that one of these series is a very loved video game series by Sega, and hopefully somebody will understand what it is when I said that. I shouldn't even have given that hint. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, just please enjoy your games. Peace out.